Right, welcome my friends to the show that never ends. Well, Wycombe had a nightmare yesterday. I say that, you think 1-0, was it a nightmare? It was a nightmare standing behind that goal, watching that crap, I have to be honest. Not good. It really wasn't good. It did cross my mind at half-time, shall I go out and just have a few drinks? Because I thought nobody is going to score in this game. They weren't very good either. I presume they play better than that, and they're certainly going to have to if they get promoted, that's for sure. Wycombe are we're going to find out how good the owners are, I think, in the summer, and see what money they've got in their pockets, because it's time for Hanlon to run the other way, I think, to be honest.
Wow. Didn't take you long to say that, did it?
No, it's a shame really, because he showed so much sort of, I mean, he isn't just fast, but he's weak, and he just got bullied off the ball the whole time during that game. And I don't understand why. He's a big lad. He doesn't win the headers. He can't control the ball, so it hits him rather than, I mean, some of Wycombe's players can actually control it. Like McCleary, when he gets a long ball, he can control the ball, either with his chest, he brings it down to his feet, blah, blah, blah. But Hanlon, no. Just to say, before we fall into that, I've just seen a piece on Alfie Mawson, who we said goodbye to yesterday, from the football programme, football journey, the football family. I don't know what he's going to do next. Maybe go into, he's certainly a specialist on knees, that's for sure. And what else? Oh, a tiny little piece on, I was going to say goalkeeping. We're going to do that next time. A couple of things on goalkeeping, but like long kicks and short kicks, which one leads straight to a goal for best. But today we're going to look what?
No, the last time you did short and long throw-ins, and now we're doing short and long goal kicks.
Yeah, I thought that'd be fun. But today we're going to discuss a few red cards. Yeah.
Sure.
Red cards. Okay. Which was, we had a few last week, didn't we? Okay. Yeah, so Wycombe versus Barnsley. Well, I've said quite a piece already, really. We had a couple of chances, did we?
I mean, Hanlon missed his...
Not you, but...
Yeah, Hanlon missed his sitter. Campbell missed his sitter in the first half. And the thing I was thinking about before coming on here was a lot of the goals that we've scored this season have been, like really, really good goals. If you wanted to whack an XG on it, it would be very low. Most of the goals we've scored this season. And the combination of Mehmeti leaving and also not putting away those very low chance of scoring chances, it's happening less and less for us now. And so you really have to finish the ones where it's literally you in front of the goal, and we didn't do that yesterday. So, I mean, all of Wing's goals this season, he's got 9 or something. All of them were like outside the box. Mehmeti's were all screamers kind of thing. And that hasn't happened for us the last couple of weeks. So I do, in a sense, feel sorry for Bloomfield in that we haven't been able to do those types of things when he's been there. And of course, people are going to look at him being like, oh, it's because he left, etc. Ainsworth left, etc., etc. We are looking more like the team that everyone expects us to be. We beat Bristol Rovers, we beat Fleetwood recently. Those types of teams, those are who we should beat. We're losing to the Barnsleys and the Shrewsburys, who are kind of near us. Those are ones who we typically, and in everyone else's heads, we probably should lose to. we're looking more like the team that we're supposed to be, which is between kind of 12th and 16th, that kind of team.
So where we used to battle our way through the big teams and walk away having won 1-0 when we know damn well we didn't deserve it, but that's Wycombe.
Yeah.
We've lost it.
We've lost it a bit. I mean, as well, it hasn't been helpful that Tafazo's been out for a little while.
He came back yesterday. He came onto the football pitch. They put him up front for 5 minutes.
Yes. They are the three in behind the striker. I mean, Jabbar's in there. Or has been the last couple of games. Campbell's in there. It's a different looking team to what it was previous under Ainsworth, which is fine. Bloomfield's got to do his own thing. But there's a couple of situations that haven't helped. We're slightly falling off, and we won't hit playoffs, which is a shame. And I don't think I don't blame Bloomfield, because in himself he's very new to it, and
he lost.
The fact that Bloomfield's in the job is the owner's fault, not him.
He lost Kai at the same time, which I thought was, and Paul said yesterday, is a bad move. He's likely to turn up when we play Milton Keynes in 2 weeks and flipping a score.
Oh, probably.
He was a good player. Why did we get rid of him?
Yeah, but did he ever really show it for us?
Did he ever really get a chance to show it for us?
Well, I mean, that's down to Ainsworth, isn't it?
Yesterday, bringing on Freeman again. Freeman is not
no.
A great player.
And that's to do with who we've got in the club. So what we're really saying for the summer is that the team does need a solid amount of investment into it.
I mean, when you're bringing on your injured centre-back, or being injured and it's his first game back for a month or two, and you're bringing him on as a centre-forward to try and win the game in the last 5 minutes, I'd say that's saying something.
No, it's not great, is it? But you look at the bench we had yesterday, and it was Tafazoli, Wheeler, and then Young, Willis, Freeman, Patton, and Cartwright. And you're like, I recognise half of those names. So Vokes wasn't there.
Vokes is injured again.
Vokes injured again. We still got Grimmer at centre back.
We're bouncing around here, but
what I'm trying to say is that
why Wheeler isn't playing baffled me, because if you're going to be belting the ball out from Mr. Goalkeeper, which we do, and you have nobody on that football pitch that can head the ball very well, it seems very odd to me. I mean, if you look at the two up front, or the three up front, or the four, I mean, you look at all those forward-standing players and name the one that's good at heading the ball down.
Yeah,
Wheeler could have done, but he wasn't on the pitch. Baffled me. Wheeler not on that football pitch. Has he been injured?
He hasn't played.
Wasn't he?
He hasn't played much recently. Yeah.
That can be the reason, maybe. But is that suggesting you've got an unfit player on the bench?
Well, he hasn't got many players on the bench, let alone fit ones. So
he's lacking, isn't he? I mean, I could go off at a tangent and say he's rubbish. I don't want him as manager. Blah 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 blah. We've known that. We've said that before. I've said that before. That I think he's not great for us. But yesterday wasn't entirely his fault. I don't think it was. I think he was stuck with what he's got, and he needs more. Yeah. If he had more and didn't win, I could point a finger.
I mean, football was such a weird thing, is that we wouldn't be speaking like this had the two sitters that we missed just got put away. and then we win the game 2-1. It's like, oh, well, we're all
but
happy.
that's the
then.
point. The 2 sitters we missed.
Yeah.
Who missed them?
Well, you had, who was it, Hanlon and Campbell.
I didn't think Campbell was very good either. I'll be honest with you. I don't think he looked good. I thought the other guy was up front, the little
DeBar.
Yeah, I thought he looked good. I thought, yeah, I like him. Campbell, he was all right, but he was Freeman. It's nothing to one or the other. I mean, maybe he needs to go at it.
Campbell was a panic loan / buy because we just lost Mehmeti and we were like, has anyone got a cam that we can borrow for the next 6 months? So like, oh, here you go. It wasn't like one that we necessarily picked out, I don't think. No. So.
Yeah, so there you go. I think going through it, Grimmer, well, he's got Grimmer or Jacobson have to win Player of the Season. I think. Jacobson, brilliant. There was one case where the guy was through straight in on goal. And there was this, I caught out the corner of my eye a player racing like mad across the football pitch to reach him. And in he went and got the ball. And I went to sort of think, brilliant. Who was that? That couldn't have been Hanlon. What's he doing back here? Because he moved so quick. And it was Jacobson. And that's because he must have gone faster than the guy racing toward the goal. And I thought, brilliant. What a lovely picture, a frozen picture there, Kieran. No. Do you want to know what it looked like?
You sure it wasn't just me?
It was like that.
Good.
I'll use that one if I find it and put it as the starting page. Yeah.
Goodness sake.
No, I wouldn't do that. So yeah, I thought Jacobson, he got man of the match, but of course nobody cares when you've lost 1-0.
No.
But it always does sell you something when a fullback or a goalkeeper get man of the match.
Well, I mean, a 36-year-old fullback as well.
Yeah, what the flip. And also, just to say about all that, was our goalkeeper had virtually nothing to save. Their goalkeeper had nothing to save. They say we had a couple of, we had another shot, but it was, a shot, all right then. If you're forcing that point, their pass backs stood more chance of going in the net, But I thought they were rubbish. I did. I thought they were rubbish, and I thought Wycombe were rubbish. Didn't enjoy that game whatsoever. No, it wasn't a good football team on the pitch. That's the honest truth. Weren't going to score. Neither team, I thought, were going to score a goal. I was very surprised when they scored. I just because they got that out of nowhere. Wycombe didn't deserve to win, and they didn't deserve to win. That's why I'd sum up that game. And I think he does. We're going to find out about the owners now when they talk about they want us up in the Championship within the 5 years of owning us. Now we're going to find out.
Well, I mean, they did it, but they want us to stay there, don't they?
They always knew that one was a bonus.
Unlikely, yeah.
Yeah. Now they're talking about wanting us up there and being good enough to be there. So now we're going to find out what does Bloomfield get to spend in the summer, because they have to.
Yeah,
they have to. There's a lot of contracts, I believe, that are coming to an end.
Well, didn't Vokes sign one recently? I think.
I hope not. You look that up.
There was talks about him signing one, but there's players like that. I think Jacobson might have his up at the end of the season as well.
Well, he's surely, if he wants it, he's got to be a coach, hasn't he?
I would have thought. Well, yes,
he's done his coaching, hasn't he? He's got all his badges and everything.
I hope he stays. No, Vokes's contract expires at the end of
Right.
this year. So he is a player who does need to move on from Wycombe. I don't think he's
Retire is the word you're looking for.
Well, I say,
Go down
yeah,
a
I mean,
division.
maybe, but there's occasions where, I mean, it's understandable because he was playing against Belgium in the Euros 4 years ago. But there are times you think, does he look that bothered? And considering the long career he's had, maybe understandably so. But in terms of where we need to get to, it's
We
probably
want a
not who we
player on
need
the
up
pitch
front.
every game, don't we? Do we have any of them? Well, we do, really. I mean, I would say Wheeler rarely has a bad game. I would also say the player that's a Grimmer, and I'd also say Scowen.
Well, I say Strike, because it's your number one goal. You want to keep that consistent.
Good.
Grimmer and Tafazoli, Scowen, and if you're saying Wheeler,
and
Wing, I guess so now.
Wing has been playing really well recently.
Yeah.
I mean, for quite a while, I think he seems to have grown up a bit. He used to disappear in the games, and you'd never heard nor saw of him. You know, only unless it meant an attack. Well, now he isn't. He's there on the football pitch, and I think he's come of age.
Yeah.
So I think he should stick around as well.
But then we're not saying any of the front four positions. This is the problem.
That's the problem. Yeah, I wouldn't keep any of them. I think it's time. Trouble is to be able to replace them with decent footballers. That's where the money really does come down. And I'd also have to say it was unfair. I almost forgot him. Was the other centre back,
Farino?
Yeah, he made one howler that could have cost us the game. I mean,
we lost anyway.
But apart from one real dodgy moment, I thought he had another exceptional game. And I mean, he's come of age. He's no longer the little kid that, that's been told what to do on the football pitch. He knows now.
Yeah.
He's okay. He's good. And so I'd keep him. And that's not bad, is it? You've got with Grimmer, you've got three centre-backs in there that are worth keeping. You've got one defensive midfielder, a goalkeeper, and two attacking midfielders. So it's there. You've got the basics of the team, but you are missing the goal scorers.
Yeah. I mean, because you got 34-year-old McCleary, you got 36-year-old Vokes, and then a kid. I mean, to be fair, I'd like to see DeBar play more. If he would score a few more, obviously.
He'll get there. You feel like he will get there.
Yeah. I hope he does.
Somebody there with him.
But yeah, it needs to be a front two, doesn't it? It can't just be him.
Yeah. And if you keep putting that ball in the air, you need somebody that can control the ball when it comes down. You see, that is what McCleary can do, whereas he can't. Hanlon can't do it. It bounces off of him and out. He can't control a football. If the ball goes over his head and he can run at it, fine. And then a player nudges him a bit and down he goes. He cannot fight. There's no fight there in him. He's big enough, but he just gets barged off the ball. I mean, they were good at that. I have to say, Barnsley were brilliant at that. The other really good person I thought on that football pitch was the referee. I thought he did a good job yesterday, that ref. I'd be interested to see. I haven't read what Bloomfield said, because the two games we've lost, he's criticised referees. So I'd be interested to know whether he did this one or not. But anyway, moving on then. Let's move on. Any more to say on Wycombe?
No, I just hope we do all right.
Sorry.
Don't we all? As a fan.
Alfie Mawson. The surgeon told me my career ended at 18. Now, I haven't read this piece. It's a fairly short piece. Only came out a couple of hours ago. Of course, Alfie Mawson was clapped at Wycombe Wanderers, the end of his career, blah, blah, blah. When the truth came, so I haven't really read it, so I'm going to sort of improvise and bounce off what I can see. Did not want it sugar-coated. After a career blighted by an issue with the meniscus in his right knee, yeah, got that right. He just wanted the facts told straight. And so his surgeon did. He said, I could show you knee to 100 other knee surgeons, and they would all say the same thing. You need to retire. Just like that, Mawson's career at age 29 was over. His last game was against Ipswich a week before Christmas. Wycombe were the club he made his league debut for as an on-loan youngster. And last summer, they were the team willing to take him on again. Injury, history and all. This is why he is now sitting here at the Adams Park ground fielding questions he did not want to answer before his 30s about his career in the past tense, his pain and an unclear future. He said, I don't really like making a big deal, but it's the Wycombe way, he reflects. It made sense for the end to be here. So he reckons that knee has shaped his career, which it probably has. He's had it repaired 5 times at Brentford, Swansea and Fulham, and then had it taken out. It acts like a doorstop, he explains matter-of-factly. It's between your bones and stops the cartilage fraying. It's wear and tear every time you run on it. So it became what's known as a grade 4 chondral defect, where there is no cartilage left and bone rubs against bone. That sounds flipping painful to me. So he knew that this was going to actually mean his retirement at some time, but not quite this quickly. He wasn't quite expecting it this quickly. He left Fulham last summer and he came to Wycombe. He failed a medical at an unnamed club, which was where he was going to be going from Fulham. So he actually failed the medical. And then Wycombe took him on. It's a shame, really. I feel like he would have been England, don't you? I know he played a bit.
Yeah.
But you feel like he might have been England, mightn't he? I mean,
if he's allowed to continue his career, yeah.
When you think of Manchester United and our £80,000 waste of space on the football pitch, and you look at Alfie Mawson and you think, yeah, he was damn sight better than he was, wasn't he?
No, I mean, when he was ridiculously good, wasn't he? At whatever age that was, not old at all.
Yeah, he played for England back in March 2018, but he suffered it again before an FA Cup tie against Sheffield Wednesday. He missed out on selection for the World Cup in Russia because of, and it's just injury after injury. What a shame! What a shame! I
mean, you can imagine ever since he was young, he probably went out onto the pitch every time thinking, "Is my knee about to buckle?" That must be a horrible feeling to having to go out with every single time.
Yeah. I wonder what he does next. I mean, 29. You know, when you think for you, he's not much older than your brother. You know, and now he's got to find a new career. And he says he's not sure what comes next. He talks warmly about mentoring, Youth players at Fulham have remarked about his positive influence there. But first, Beth wants to travel, and he says Asia has been discussed. There are thoughts of a family too. I didn't want to be risking my health by playing on, he says. I haven't got kids yet, and that was a big thing for me. I want to be able to be athletic with them, move around with them, the little things like playing in the garden. In the short, Mawson will adjust to retirement and deal with whatever is next. He has a saying he has used throughout his career: always fall forwards, he explains, because if you dwell on things, you might miss out opportunities. Now, that's a nice thing, isn't it? I'm going to say that again because, always fall forwards, because if you dwell on things, you might miss other opportunities. Well, good luck to him. Good luck to him. He was good for Wycombe, and he's been good for lots of football teams. And I think that's really sad at the age of 29 that he's got to pack it all in. He was one of the better ones. And when he played for Wycombe, maybe people, I don't know what you think, people watching this, but when he played for Wycombe, you could tell he was a Premier League class, couldn't you?
Yeah.
He had that, didn't he?
Just like calmness and confidence on the ball, and just a bit like Tafazo, he was just a bit of a tank and just didn't let anyone through.
Yeah, he was good. He was good. Okay, moving on then, Kieran. Football this weekend before we move on to red cards and finish. Football this weekend. What have we had? Can I just say now, we could go into League One, but there's no point about other people. We had a Nottingham Forest 1, Newcastle 2. Did you see any of that?
I saw bits.
Have Newcastle really got it yet?
No, but I don't think they were expecting to have it at this point. There's still a number of players in that team who are like, they should be playing for Crystal Palace or something like that. They should be playing for a top league team. But they're gradually getting there.
They are gradually getting there. Are they going to be a risk next year?
Not next year, the year after.
Okay, so you give 2 years. Aston Villa 3, Bournemouth 0. No shocks there.
No, Bournemouth aren't brilliant, are they? But yeah, exactly.
Beat Liverpool.
Exactly.
What do you think to Aston Villa? Just to have interest. They're there now, aren't they?
In terms
are they
of
at
what?
their peak?
Must be a bit boring though if this is their peak. They're just average. They're just 11th. They're 10th, 11th in the league, and
Which is about right, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think they think they're supposed to be challenging for kind of Europe. It's like if they're challenging for Europe, then
who isn't?
15 other teams are challenging for Europe.
Yeah,
I know they've had previous in the European Cup and stuff, but that was an awfully long time ago. So Brentford
1, Leicester 1.
I didn't see this one.
Well, I look at this and I think Brentford 1, Leicester 1. Leicester were there, weren't they? And they've done that.
Yeah.
How good are Brentford? This isn't one of these okay one season, go down next, is it? Do you think they are an Aston Villa in the Premier League?
They will be. They will be. I don't think they'll go down. Because Sheffield United had that period, didn't they? Where did they come like 6th or 7th? And then ends up getting relegated the next season. I don't think they're that. I think they're a bit better than that. However, I don't see them doing much better than they are. They're doing ridiculously well at the moment, and I don't see them doing much better than that. But that's just because of who's in front of them and what the teams in front of them will be able to do in the summer and all that sort of thing.
Tony been put up for England, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Will he play?
Probably not. This is the problem when there's all the talks about who should play for England and who shouldn't. Southgate picks the same players every single time. So even if a Jared Bowen for West Ham gets in, it's not easy to play. We know that the midfield will be Declan Rice, Bellingham, and Mason Mount. We know it's going to be that. We know the two centre backs are going to be John Stones and Maguire.
Okay, name who you think he's going to name. All right.
All right. Pickford.
Yeah. Well, it can't be. You know that Nick Pope's out, don't you?
Yeah,
because he's injured. Anyway. So Fraser Forster is replacing Nick Pope.
Good. That's just because he's been playing.
Okay, so Pickford.
Maguire and Stones.
Yeah.
Chilwell.
Yeah.
Right back's a little bit more tricky. He's obviously got rid of Trent because he hates him. But does he go for Kyle Walker, who's just... Did you see the stuff about Kyle Walker, by the way?
The what?
The stuff about Kyle Walker recently.
No.
Dodgy man.
He's done something.
How do I say it without sounding so explicit? He exposed himself in a bar, despite him having a wife and kids, and he did some stuff he obviously wasn't supposed to. And it looks awful, and he looks awful, and doesn't sound like a very nice person. But he's in the England squad, so there's that. I reckon he'll go for Trippier.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Pickford, Maguire, Stones, Chilwell, and Trippier.
And then they'll have Declan Rice.
Yeah.
Mount and Bellingham.
Yeah.
And then they'll have
9, 10, and 11 left.
And then they'll have Kane and Rashford.
Yeah.
And who would he go for? Because he's left out Sterling, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, Sterling's injured, isn't he?
Oh, he'll go with Saka.
Okay, so you reckon that's who he is going to play?
Yeah.
Where would you make the big changes in that then?
Based on the squad he's put up, well, not even that. I'd have either Reece James or Trent at right back. I'm trying to think who else could go centre back, but it can't be Maguire. Who's in the squad? Because I would have Stones, because Stones obviously is absolutely fine. Can't be. Because he's got Dyer in there as well, and I'm not putting Dyer in.
Why? I mean, you might as well. But I've always wondered why you can't go down a league. I have to be honest.
He's got Dyer, Gahey. I'd have to have Gahey from Palace, but I don't think he's brilliant still. And then I would have Bellingham. I would have Rice. Oh, goodness. Who would I have after that?
Wouldn't have Mount.
Madison?
He's playing okay, isn't he?
I think I'd have to have Madison.
Leicester are living off of him.
Yeah, he's their only hope, really. You would have Saka, obviously. You're not having Kane at the moment. I reckon I'd put... You've got to have Rashford based on current form. But do you put Rashford in the middle and have Grealish on the side, or do you put Tony up front? Tony scores every flipping game. I think I'd have Tony up front and then have Rashford on the left.
Yeah, well, that's where Rashford prefers to play, isn't it?
Yeah. Foden hasn't played enough for City, so
Why?
can't really put him in there.
He's a muppet. Well, we do know why, actually, because Foden doesn't fit with our friend from Germany, does he? It don't work.
Not quite, no.
Because Grealish, you see, you haven't put Grealish in there.
I don't think only because Rashford's playing how he is at the moment, which is annoying for me to say. I wouldn't want to put Rashford in normally, but if he's scoring 2 goals a game, then fine.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens with that, and we'll come back to that. I'll keep that the list that you think he will pick. And why does he bother going to watch any football match when he already knows the 11? All right, so we'll see what happens with that.
Has to be for the competitive game, though, because it can't be a friendly, because he'll probably play like Henderson and Gallagher and people like that.
Yeah, he would. Yeah. Okay, well, on that time here, before we have to restart, we've got roughly a minute. So we will actually come back in a second, okay?
Yes, boss.
Okay, next one then is Southampton 3, Tottenham 3. Oh dear. Bit of a bugger, this one, wasn't it? Was it Conte attacks selfish Tottenham players, Levy and club ambition? Did you listen to
that? Yeah, hang on. There's still there's a little noise that's coming up. Like when you're speaking sometimes. Are you like hitting a wire at all?
Is that better?
I hope so. We shall see.
Okay, right, Kieran. Southampton 3, Tottenham 3. What did you reckon to this one then? Because I've got down Conte attacks selfish Tottenham players. Attacks selfish Tottenham players, Levy and club ambition. And Richarlison leaves pitch in tears after latest setback. What do you know about this game then?
Well, the thing is that Conte went in on the Spurs players, didn't he? He was really not very happy. And I was thinking, what actually is Spurs' lineup and who could potentially be the problem and who's the selfish ones he's talking about? He's got Kane, Richarlison and Son. I'm assuming he's not talking about Kane and Son because they've been carrying the team for the last couple of years. And Richarlison just doesn't do a lot anyway. So it could be him, but he did get injured early on. So
I presume that's the whole thing about him leaving the pitch in tears.
Yeah. So that's not the reason that they drew the game. You've got Højbjerg at centre mid, who I would have thought, like, whenever I've seen Tottenham play, he's always looked pretty good. So I can't see that it's him. And you've got Skip next to him, who is quite young. So I thought it'd be a bit harsh that they keep having to go at someone like him. Davis, I quite like. I think he's all right. Porro on the right-hand side scored, but I have no idea what he's really like. And then you got a back three of Romero, Dyer, and Longley. I think this is where the problem lies in terms of where managers have had a go at Spurs for their lack of character and all that sort of thing. Romero doesn't lack character, but almost has too much character. It almost seems like every game he could get sent off and probably doesn't control the back line very well. Dyer, we know, is not very good at football, bless him. And so it could well be him. I wouldn't say he's selfish, though. I wouldn't say he might not be very good. And then Longley's played for Barcelona teams and has looked pretty good. So I wouldn't have thought it'd be him. And then Forster's only in because Lloris is injured. So there's not like any players in there that stand out to me in terms of being selfish and just not what. Like,
Is he
most
after
teams
being sacked? Is that what he
sounds.
wants? He
I mean, it
wants
sounds like it, doesn't it?
that he's had enough. He doesn't know what else to do. And so he's thinking, if I walk away, don't get a penny. If I get sacked, well, who needs another job?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be that because I don't think the squad is bad. Like potentially under some other managers and under potentially a different team name, this team looks right to me. Like there's no reason why they shouldn't be winning at least a trophy every like 3 or 4 seasons.
He hasn't Conte. He's only got 3 months left on his contract. Okay. So who's going to hold out then? Do you just keep paying him for 3 months and think, bugger it? And then off he goes because they don't offer him a new contract? Or he said, that's what I think. I think he's lost his job in 3 months. And I think he's trying to force the issue and at least get paid for it. Because you wouldn't say that. You should never say that in public. If you wonder why, if my bosses, management committee, weren't happy with me, they don't get a microphone out and tell the whole of the country what they're not happy, that they think I'm lazy. They talk to me and sack me. You don't do that. You never do that. Surely. Doesn't that mean he's had it now in that dressing room?
Oh, I don't see how we can go back in there and be like, oh, we were right that time, we?
Hi, pals. Yes. I mean, if I was one of those players, I would not be amused.
No, not
with him talking about me like that on live TV. I would not find that very funny. Whether he thought it or not, I'd want him to talk to me about it. Personally, face to face, have the guts to come to me and tell me and let me have a chat about this. I would not want him going on to the bloody BBC or whatever, the news channels and the newspapers, and start talking like this about me.
I mean, you hope he has had a chat with the players as well, don't you? Because otherwise he's just kind of being a dick. Like, he's being a dick anyway, but like in terms of just being respectful to other people.
I think that's his lot. Whether he gets the sack, whether they just keep him long enough for 3 months so they don't have to pay him, we'll wait and see. But my guess is they'll just keep him there for what it's worth. And then in 3 months' time, kick him out.
They haven't got many other options, have they? They haven't got many other options. Perhaps we'll get Pochettino back, but I mean,
it's not a good time now to change him. You ain't going to get anything.
But I don't think it's ever going to be a good time, to be honest with you, or ever be a bad time.
I'd go for Klopp.
It's not going to go to Spurs, is it? Go for Arteta.
Yeah. Just to mention, on the sort of couple of things going on here, I see Wigan crossed the line with time wasting, which was quite funny. It turns out that all of their players, I think, went down with a head injury after 60-odd minutes because they could. And I think Wilder was not amused at Watford, and he was moaning and groaning about them. But of course, they also haven't been paying their players, Wigan, and it looks like they're going to be docked points. So Wigan, I mean, they went up last year, so not great success, but it cost them a lot of money for that success, and now they're in they're up the Swanee without a boat, or whatever the term is. I can't remember. Okay. Up the Swanee without a boat. I don't know. Wolves 2, Leeds 4. There was quite a bit of controversy about this one. 1 or 2 interesting decisions, I believe. Mr. Wolves wasn't amused, but there you go. Another one of those Leeds Red Bull games where you try and score more than the opposition, and in this case, they did. Chelsea 2, Everton 2. See this one?
Yeah, well, sort of highlights, obviously. It is Chelsea just funny, aren't they?
I wonder what
They're
you're
like,
going to say then. I'm glad. Yeah.
I wasn't.
Chelsea are
No,
just
no.
funny.
Yeah, they are. They are funny. Because the last goal they conceded in the last minute, like we were led to believe for so many years. Obviously, you have not been on social media, but we were led to believe for many years on social media that Koulibaly was supposed to be the best centre back, other than like kind of maybe your Van Dijks, your Ramoses, those kind of players. He was supposed to be the best one out, like up there with them. He is awful. He is
Yeah. Yes.
like the second, like Everton's second goal. Sims, whoever Sims is, just glides past him as if he's not even there, and Koulibaly just falls over. And it's just like, this is the last minute of the game, and you've just been done like that
I know,
against
but it
against
wasn't
whoever
just
he
that,
is.
was it? He let him go, and then
Yeah,
you'd got the other player behind, Chelsea player behind him, who as good as sort of turns around and sort of strolls back. Whereas if that guy had run at the goal, I always told you, it doesn't matter if you lose the ball, just run straight at the goal. He would have had another chance to defend it if he'd
yeah.
bothered to move. It's the last minute of the game, for goodness sake. Save the game. And they didn't. And should the goalkeeper have done any better?
It's difficult. Like it's under his body, and he's trying to
Mm.
get down low. He potentially probably should have gone for it with his feet as opposed to his try and hold it.
And what about that moron? I
But
was going to say Pikachu. It's not Pikachu, is it? The guy that took the penalty for Chelsea.
Havertz,
That's it.
why is Pikachu?
Did something like that, didn't he, at the goalkeeper at Pickford?
Oh yeah. But fair enough. Most people don't like Pickford. I don't think he's
So
a bit
that's all right
shouty.
then. Well, I'm sure Pickford did a few things to annoy
More
him
than likely,
beforehand, so probably served him
yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah, Pickford deserved it. We'll go with that. Well, the games have just finished, haven't they? Today, game,
Mm.
and Arsenal 4, Crystal Palace 1. But of course, Crystal Palace have just sacked their manager.
Yeah, I think everyone thought that was quite a bizarre one, but then you see their last 11 games, and it's like
Yeah,
5 draws, 6 losses, and 4 goals scored, and it's like, I guess fair.
yeah.
I
There's a few people
like,
moaning about it, except for Crystal Palace fans. I've noticed other people that don't support Crystal Palace were that's not really fair. Whereas all the Crystal Palace fans were thinking, thank goodness for that.
yeah, yeah. I it, it seems a bit harsh, but in today's kind of environment, it's probably not.
Yeah. No, I get that. And probably it was a good thing that he went, mind you, what difference it made whether he went today or not, really. 4-1. They're good, aren't they, Arsenal? Surely that's got to be it by now, isn't it? Saka getting a couple more. Um,
I don't know. I don't know what I hope for at this point.
Strolling it,
I don't want them to win it. I
really, you
don't
want
want.
City.
But I only say that because no one cares if City win it. Whereas if Arsenal win it, I care.
Yeah,
I don't want to care.
you don't want to care.
No.
Oh, Kieran.
Sounds a bit sad, doesn't it?
That sounds very, very sad. Okay, and last but not least, everybody, we'll just finish on this one thing that I did look up. Um, I haven't. I could have done loads of charts and got into great detail with it. And I decided no. I'll just sort of do a very quickie, just to give you the basics. And there is stuff to sort of bring up about this, because there's lots of questions with red cards, and I think red cards are unfair, and I'll tell you why. Now, I'm going to try to keep my head around this to make it as simple as possible. Okay. Now, when you get red carded, who loses out? Your team lose out, and the fans can lose out because it can kill a game. So, is that good? Well, not really, because I don't think that's right that the fans lose out, because it can dictate the whole of the game. But also, if you get red card, in theory, you get red carded for a bad tackle or two relatively bad tackles. But if you do it in the first 10 minutes of a football match or the last 2 minutes of a football match, it means they're not equal red cards at all, are they?
No.
Well, shouldn't they be equal? Shouldn't you pay the same price? And shouldn't the team who didn't get given the red card, the opposition, shouldn't they have the same amount of extra because of that red card? And there is your main question.
Then how would you sort that out? How would you dictate that everyone gets the same punishment?
Surely the way to do that would be you have your team.
You have to pay an actual minutes penalty for that specific player, as opposed to a game.
Yeah, or something like because if you just miss 3 matches, first of all, it's not against your team that you deserve those matches. I wonder whether the next time you play that team, you have to play. You play, say, 45 minutes with 10 men only, and so instead of the whole game, or make it 40 minutes, you play with only 10 men against. So Arsenal get the red card against Manchester City, and you've got to play 45 minutes with 10 men only. And if there's not 45 minutes left in the game, there's only 20 minutes. Next time you play them, you play with 10 men for the first 25 minutes.
But then there's no immediate repercussions, is there? Because then you could just play the next game.
They get a goal.
No.
You give a goal away. Because usually in the last 10 minutes when a player gets sent off, that's what they're doing it for, to stop them scoring. And they lose out of scoring a goal because Buddy Boy's gone in with 2 feet up, knowing damn well he's going to get sent off, but they won't have time to score.
But then there's... I know what you mean, but it's very difficult to decide on something that is fair. Because you can't just give away a goal. Because it could be... You can't just give a goal for handball or something. With 2 yellow cards and you give away a goal, it seems a bit hard.
Right. Well, I'll give you a couple of these just to show the difference. Okay. Now, if you work on the theory, if I give you the name of a team where they were given, and I'm adding up the difference of red cards. So if your team got 7 red cards and the opposition you played were given 3 red cards, it means you've got -4 red cards. Yeah. And that's how these teams are worked out from last year in the Premier League. So the more red cards you were given, the more minus it is. And then you look at the minutes played with or without those red cards, and it works like this. Are you ready? Wolves were up red cards by 6. So all their opposition got red cards.
Probably not anymore. They got sent off twice yesterday.
Yeah, I know. But they played for 139 minutes and opposition with 10 men. Yeah. But what about this? So Wolves received 1 red card, but their opponents were shown 7. So they played the equivalent of 139 minutes with an extra man. Whereas Villa are only +2 in terms of red cards, but played nearly as long as Wolves of 137 minutes with an extra player. Now, how can that be fair? Okay. Brighton shows why this exercise has some degree of relevance, though, because they collected 7 red cards, which sounds disastrous, especially as their opponents were only shown 3. So their net red figure is -4. But significantly, 5 of their 7 red cards came in the 89th minute or later. So Brighton weren't actually being penalised significantly in those games. And so Brighton actually played the equivalent of 72 minutes with a man advantage, even though they'd had 7 red cards. But all the red cards were doled out at the end of the match, where the red cards given to the opposition were doled out much earlier on. So that cannot possibly be fair. Can it?
But then that team were good enough to only get red carded later on in the game rather than earlier.
I think they need to think about this.
You write to the FA with a decent suggestion, I'm sure they'll take it.
Can you not think of a good answer to this? Sin bins instead of red cards?
No, because the problem is, if you want to give the other team a bigger advantage than what they'd already have, you'd have to do it against that team later on. Or something like, for every 3 red cards you get a point deducted or something.
It's got to be an advantage to the team you're playing, you see. So
there can't be, and I can't be until
maybe wherever you commit for that red card, you get a penalty. The opposition get a penalty. Wherever on a football pitch it is, you get a penalty.
Maybe.
That might be the answer. So the idea of pulling the player back on the halfway line in the 89th minute to stop them scoring, give them a penalty.
Maybe, yeah. I don't think I'd mind that too much.
And maybe also players, the other thing you've got to stop is players going off in the first half with a red card, because it destroys the game.
Yeah, but you can't give the other team an advantage because they've done something wrong.
Well, I think maybe that's the answer.
Their
If
fault.
anybody else has any clues as to what they think they could come up with to make it fair, instead of just red carding somebody at any time in a football pitch on any time, because it's the next 3 teams you're playing that get the advantage. And if it's say Arsenal and Manchester City, neither of those should benefit more than the other because of the red card given out in the previous game, rather than the team they were playing who didn't get any advantage because it was in the 89th minute. So that seems rather daft. But let me just give you the last idea, okay? And this one's just for a bit of a fun. And this is who's received the most red cards in the Premier League as it's known. And, you know, none of the players knocking around at the moment are in this top 20, funnily enough. The winner, or winners, there's three, was Duncan Ferguson, Richard Dunn, and Patrick Vieira, all coming in with 8 red cards. And then coming in a close second with 7 was Lee Cattermole, Alan Smith, Vinnie Jones, and Roy Keane. And then just to mention the last, and there's loads who got 6, but I'll just give you 1 or 2. John Terry, we all know. Stephen Gerrard, we all know as a dirty player. Andy Cole, Martin Keown, Nicky Butt, Joey Barton.
Wish I had a few more.
And in fact, though, the tough tackling duo, Lee Cattermole and Joe Barton, were only shown 7, yeah. So there we go. And what about now? Are there any knocking around now? Well, no, actually. But I think I've got a sneaking suspicion there might be a Manchester United player who's going to get on this list, don't you? At this going rate?
I thought so.
Okay. I think we'll give it a miss here. We've done our little bit. Next week, we'll look at the most vital skill for goalkeepers in 2023, which is shot stopping or distribution. And then maybe the week after, we look at how the humble goal kick became one of the most important passes in football. Okay, Kieran, have you got anything else you would like to say?
Really?
Not really.
No, football's just... It's not been a great season, has it?
It's not been a great season, not for us. But there's always next season.
Oh, good. Thank goodness.
Okay, if Kieran, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
And I'll say goodbye. And judging by last week, no bugger watched it anyway, so I don't know who we're saying goodbye to.
Ourselves.
Goodbye, Kieran.
See you later, mate.